Okay, so let's sync up on go per usual. 1, 2, 3, go.
Heinous.
Fuck. Cryptic pterodactyl.
I already like where this is going.
Hey guys, and thanks for joining us for a special episode of Beyond the Controller. I'm Gladys, and joining me today is Cryptic Panther,
Hey, everybody.
Fatty,
Hey.
and our old friend doing work.
What up?
We are here today for this special episode to talk about the Game Awards. So we'll be discussing the nominees for some categories, not all of them because there are a ton. Not only are there some categories that we felt weren't really necessary to be included in this podcast, but also not really necessary at all. But we'll also be discussing the overall layout of the Game Awards. And first up on the agenda here is the question I feel needs to be asked and answered before we even get to the awards is, what is everyone's thoughts about this being done before every game has been released for 2018? As of this recording, it's November 13th. So we've still got a month and a half to go. And really, I think the biggest release left for the year that's not included in any of this, but could have been included in many of them, is Battlefield 5. So just anyone general thoughts, go ahead and jump in on an incomplete year for a complete game year award. What is going on?
Yeah, I'll jump in on this one. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan at all. I mean, I get that like a year has to start and stop somewhere in the minds of whoever does these award shows, because they do the same thing for like the Oscars and stuff
Sure.
too. They happen in like February or whatever it is. But it just seems strange to not. So we're talking about games that came out for holiday 2017 as receiving an award for a 2018 game of the year. Like how is that? It just doesn't make any sense to me.
Right. And like I said, with Battlefield not being included, it releases mass market in what, 7 days on the 20th?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, the cutoff for this I think is a little cheeky, but it's a huge release, and especially in certain categories I feel like it would dominate. Like we'll later be talking about them, but like best audio design, best action game, like it could be a serious contender. Multiplayer, it could be a serious contender for a lot of these things.
Agreed.
And it's not included, and that's not being like a Battlefield fanboy. That's just recognizing that certain aspects of the franchise and of the game in particular are very high quality. So comparatively speaking, and that's exactly what this whole nominee list is comparing. I think that it's dumb to not include all the games in 2018. This should be done in late December, I feel like. There's no reason to rush this type of list.
Yeah.
And,
or even January or February or early after the calendar year ends.
Yeah,
but you guys are ignoring the glaring, obvious reason that this is happening this time.
What is that?
To increase holiday sales for game winners. I'm with you. I'm with you. I'm with you.
Yeah, okay. So it's a typical award show. Yeah, the awards are nice, but this is all to make more money.
Okay.
Yeah, and it makes sense, I guess, for old games that might be on sale for a holiday season. Let's talk God of War. It's probably the oldest game that I see outside of Destiny 2 on a lot of these categories. When that came out, April.
Rainbow Six Siege would beg to differ.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah, another like, I mean, I'm not the one to brag about the game, but Fallout 76 isn't on here either. It's coming out like this week. Just Cause 4 comes out the first week of December. Those Just Cause 4 games are like crazy games. They're just nuts. I mean, they could fall into the Bethesda sound design and everything else.
I don't think he got it.
I caught it.
Yeah, I know you did. So
I missed it, I guess.
You said those Just Cause 4 games.
Like there's been 5 or 6.
The Just Cause games. Sorry,
yeah,
the Just Cause games. They're crazy. And they're crazy popular. Right. The Just Cause 4 game comes out December 4th, and it's not on the list either. So it's, I mean, Fallout 76, Just Cause 4, and Battlefield 5 are 3 large titles, all AAA, that are not in this because of their release dates. So I agree. I mean, yes, it's designed to make more money for the holiday sales season, but, you know, I mean, I don't know. I don't know how and who is they are, quote, air quotes, that decide the stop and start point of the Game Awards. But yeah, the fact that, you know, Battlefield 5 was a delayed release doesn't make the cut because of a delayed release. It's just kind of weird. But.
So I'm looking at a list right now on a website, and it lists all of the games coming out that are confirmed titles, right, for 2018. And we're on November 13th. And I'm just going to do a brief estimation here. There's probably 30 or 40 here for November, from tomorrow to the end of November. And then, gosh, 50 in maybe not 50, maybe another 40 or so in December.
Yeah, but those, I mean, realistically, how many of those are going to be up for any awards?
Probably only a couple.
Right. So I'm talking like big AAA titles. What else is AAA that's coming out that I have missed? I'm not looking at it. I'm just kind of going off the top of my head. So I mean, you have a list of games coming out. So
probably,
I mean,
probably just Battlefield, Fallout, and Just Cause.
Yeah.
I don't think of any other big AAA title.
Well, there's that like MMORPG title based on The Witcher, Thronebreaker. That could be.
Yeah, that could be cool.
That's a card game.
No, that's Gwent.
No,
Yeah.
Thronebreaker.
Thronebreaker's a card game too.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, no, it's more of a kind of like how do you say it? It's something similar to the Left 4 Dead, not Left 4 Dead, but the Jesus Christ, the game company that just went under a few weeks ago that we talked about.
Telltale.
It's kind of like a Telltale style game. It's it's like kind of like a story based, like I don't know, adventure game where you choose. I never looked a lot into it because I'm so far behind on The Witcher. It's not even a point for me to try to look at anything relevant to Witcher because I mean remotely even entirely touched Witcher 3. But yeah, I'm pretty sure it's like a Telltale style game.
Because there's also a Gwent, the Witcher card game coming out the same day.
That's the one I was thinking of.
Yeah, but I mean, like Fatty was right. It's to make money. Yeah. And it's a launching point for it's a game trailer event. It's a lot of things, but I mean, it's I'm kind of agreeing. It's like, well, they need to. So these games that didn't fall in the cutoff today for the announcement of nominees, are they able to be included in next year? Or they're totally forgotten about, never allowed to be spoken about.
Should be next year. Yeah.
Right. So
they'll be included next year, but I mean, the chances of them winning anything are kind of slim to none unless they're like. Monstrous releases. Yeah, I agree. They'll be long forgotten about by the time next year. So.
And that begs a question that I had thought about, and as part of my, I'm happy that Red Dead is included because it's awesome, but then so is something like God of War, and I kind of feel differently about video games than I do movies. Where if I watch a fantastic movie, and then, someone asks me about it much later on. It still is kind of fresh to me. I don't know if my mind works a little bit differently, but like right now, if you ask me what my favorite game is, I'm going to say it's one thing and not God of War because it's not like fresh in my mind. If that makes any sense, maybe I'm just a little crazy here.
You're just saying that because something is more recent, that experience is more relatable now than something 6 or 8 months ago.
Sure, yeah, and I kind of feel like votes suffer on some of those older games. A year is a long time. Yeah. And I'm not saying that they should do award shows every 90 days or whatever. I just,
Jesus.
I kind of feel like it almost stacks the deck a little bit in something like, if you're going to say what's the best shooter of 2018 and Call of Duty came out in January and the list comes out in September and Battlefield just dropped 3 days ago, like more people are probably playing this one right now versus.
Right.
Yeah, but there's also the counter argument of, if something came out in January, just because it's 9 months old or 10 months old by the time this award comes out, that doesn't necessarily mean that if it's not strong enough to stand up that test of time, like it shouldn't win if it can't stand the test of time.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. No, I agree. Yeah. It's a little strange.
Yeah, I get to your point though. It's because a lot of people will be more like, oh, because it's fresh and new, they're more apt to throw their vote towards the thing that's tickling their fancy at the moment versus something that, done it 6 months ago.
Sure.
I get what your point is. I get it.
I almost relate it to like when I'm creating a security question on a website. It goes, "What is your favorite food?" I'm like, "Well, right now it's pizza, but maybe I haven't had my favorite food yet."
Or maybe, yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's a stupid security question. I agree. Someone who works in IT.
Variable.
That is, it's just too many variables there. But I mean, I get your point. In other words, it's the fact that, the more fresh in your mind is maybe more apt to lean your way to get a vote. But I mean, hopefully the people that are the powers that be to vote on this are the ones that can click this with a clear mind, and it's not us.
Well, it is decided by people, though, by votes.
Right.
So you go on to thegameawards.com and you can try to scroll down for about 30 minutes before getting to the vote section of it. The website's a bucket of piss. It's terrible, slow, unresponsive.
Yeah,
but anyways.
I'm trying to get back to it now. It's really bad.
Yeah. But anyways, you can cast a vote once per day.
Oh wow, once a day. Holy shit.
Yes, it just tallies. And
so there you go, Work. If you really want God of War to win, and you think that because it was 7 months ago, it deserves more votes, just every day, make sure you vote for it.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's right.
So moving on here from that first question, let's get into some actual categories here. So the Game Awards has nominated more than 100 games and individuals for various game awards. And like I said in the intro here, we're not including all of them. Some of these categories, I think we could all agree, shouldn't really even get the attention. Other categories, I don't feel it's necessary to duke it out and try to pick a particular game in a genre right now. So I tried to curate a list for us of kind of like the bigger ideas behind games, not just what's the best action game or what's the best sports game. I tried to pick some stuff for us to talk about that's kind of larger than that. So the first thing, of course, is going to be, I think, the biggest when we're talking about Game of the Year nominees. Before we get to this list, or before we get to taking it apart and talking about it, I'll read the list first, and then I want you guys just to give me a yes or no on whether you think this is an all-inclusive Game of the Year list. If you put your own together, would it match? So first, it's going to be Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and then Celeste, God of War, Spider-Man, Monster Hunter World, and Red Dead Redemption 2. Who wants to go first on this? Does this list match yours if you were to make a Game of the Year list for nominees?
No.
All right, what's missing for you?
Far Cry 5 is missing.
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, I don't know if Detroit Become Human could be stacked in there as a Game of the Year. I don't think that meets, but Far Cry 5 is missing in my opinion.
Okay.
I don't know really. I'm just thinking what else should be there. Spider-Man shouldn't be there. Oh, controversy.
Well, I was gonna say follow-up question: if you can only have, what is this, 5-6 games? Like, what's coming off of this list to get Far Cry 5 on there?
Celeste, because I have no idea what it is.
Probably the greatest game ever conceived.
I watched the trailer for it. It's a heavily pixelated, side-scrolling 2D platformer.
Oh, you lost me.
Yeah, it's heavily pixelated. I mean, I got no problem with 2D side scrollers. I rave at the game Inside. It's a 2D side scroller, but it's not heavily pixelated. That, to me, those games do lose something for me now because I've played so many games that are definitely not pixelated. But I mean, the game could be amazing. I mean, it's got rave reviews on Steam. It's like overwhelmingly positive. I mean, it may be an amazing game. I don't have an opinion because I never played it. But I mean, if I was to take a game off, I mean, that would be the one. Monster Hunter could come off too. Monster Hunter's on there, so yeah, I'm not.
All right, let's try to speed this up a little bit.
All right.
Fatty, what about you?
I I don't think I can answer this because honestly, I haven't played a whole lot of new games this year.
Okay.
Out of this entire list that's on here, I've played one. So, yeah. So I'm not gonna be biased. I can't do it.
Okay.
Okay. Fair enough. And Work, what about you?
I would definitely say that Monster Hunter needs to go and Far Cry 5 needs to go on there. And while I don't like pixelated 2D side scrollers, I can definitely see the value of having something like that on there if it's done really well. Or I can't judge Celeste because I've never played it, but it may very well deserve that spot. Yeah, Monster Hunter World goes and Far Cry's on there, and then Assassin's Creed's always generally going to be Game of the Year material. The other games speak for themselves, I suppose.
Yeah, just about. And then for me, myself, and I pretty much agree with you guys that I think Monster Hunter and Celeste should come off. Celeste really, and without playing it, of course, this is just complete, like, my guess on how I would receive this type of game. I don't ever think that at this point in gaming technology and experience that I can favor a 2D side scroller over something as big and open and as beautiful and reactive as like Red Dead or Spider-Man or probably the Assassin's Creed game. I haven't played this year's, planning on picking it up at some point, just haven't got to it yet. But the experiences and the living world involved in those games, to me, and God of War also, I forgot to mention that just now, but all of those things, just the incredible technical achievements of all those games compared to something like Celeste, which could have come out in 1985. I can see the appeal to some people on that type of game, but for that to beat those other games now and the experiences and the technical achievements and huge open reactive worlds, I don't see how that could ever beat one of those games for Game of the Year now. So agreed with them, and I'd add Far Cry 5 as well. And I don't know, I feel like an honorable mention for me might even be The Forest. I'll throw a curveball at you guys.
Well, does it count because it's been an early access?
Its official release was this year. Yes, okay. 1.0.
All right. Well, yeah. I mean, I'm not going to argue with you on that. So yeah, there you go.
Loved it. All right. So then, now that we've kind of said about where we stand on this list, out of this list, now, Fatty, you said you haven't played all of these, but I mean, if you don't want to commit, that's fine. Just you can bow out of that. But do you have a pick based on, let's say, even just overall reception or what you've been exposed to from these games? Even without having played them, you still have a pretty good idea what they're like, I would say. Some of them, at least. For instance, God of War, Spider-Man, Assassin's Creed, generally speaking. What do you think?
If it were to come down to me, it sure as fuck wouldn't be Assassin's Creed. I know it's going to sound because it's recent, but I'm going to say Red Dead Redemption.
Okay. Fair enough. And then what do you think realistically is going to win, though? Not your pick.
Red Dead Redemption.
Okay.
No, seriously, it's either that or God of War. I don't think God of War stacks up enough to Red Dead Redemption. Okay. I think it's going to take it home.
All right. And Work, what about you?
Red Dead. I mean, there's
for both?
There's really no contest here. Yeah.
Okay.
And I say that with a tremendous amount of respect to God of War. That is a fantastic game, but Red Dead is just like, it's a whole nother fucking level, man.
Yeah. All right, Panther?
Red Dead, both.
For both, okay.
I mean, like Work said, like, God of War was an amazing fucking game, but Rockstar said they were changing the face of gaming, and fuck. Like, I'm not even halfway through, and I've been playing this game almost every day since launch. So,
right, and without online.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, it's not even that it's got umpteen hours of story mode stuff, just the scope of everything that's in it, the vastness of the detail. I mean, it's mind blowing what they packed into this thing.
Yep. All right. And then last, I'll round this out. Agreed on both accounts. I think my pick would be Red Dead Redemption 2. And I think realistically, I think the votes are going to tally up also for Red Dead Redemption 2.
Yeah.
So pretty much everyone in agreement there. Not really surprised just because it's Game of the Year that we're talking about.
Right.
I think we're going to start to differ once we hit these other categories. So let's move on.
I think so too.
Let's get to the second one here. Best ongoing game. So this is a game that could be considered live service. This could be a game that has just constant updates, whether it's called live service or not. But basically a game that has constant or near constant support and updates, changes to the game, DLC, whatever the case may be, a well-supported game that's consistently getting content. The best ongoing game nominees are Destiny 2, Fortnite, No Man's Sky, Overwatch, and Rainbow Six Siege. Now, myself, I've only played a tiny bit of Fortnite. I won't touch Destiny 2. No Man's Sky burned me real bad at launch. I do admit that it's gotten a lot better over the past couple years. I have Overwatch installed, but I've never played it, and I've only played a little bit of Siege. So my personal experience lies heavily, really, just with No Man's Sky. But I'm going to go ahead and answer first since I answered last time. I'll switch it up. For my pick, best ongoing game, I'm going to say, I think objectively, Rainbow Six Siege has got the most support. It's been out for, 3 years? And I know it's got multiple seasons going. They're constantly doing new things, and these are all free updates. Rainbow Six Siege is the success story that I think nobody saw coming. Something like Overwatch and Fortnite are both heavily sensationalized in popularity right now, but I think that they're trends. Overwatch is a shooter, and shooters are a dime a dozen. It plays really well, and it gets a lot of support, and there's a great community behind it from everything I've seen and heard. But I don't think that the amount of support that Overwatch has got outweighs the support that Rainbow Six Siege has. No Man's Sky has come a long way, and it's still got a long way to go. So I can't give it to that. Fortnite, really, it's mostly cosmetics and, some tie-ins from other franchises and whatnot. So I don't feel like there's really been significant content updates to Fortnite. Destiny 2, I don't know and I don't care. I hated Destiny 1, and I don't want to bother with Destiny 2. So I think my pick, and realistically, I'm going to guess Rainbow Six Siege. Panther, what about you?
I feel kind of the same way about a few of those. Destiny 2, I played, not Forsaken. That's what's up is the Forsaken title, because Destiny 2 came out last year. Destiny 2, I mean, I burnt myself out in Destiny 1. Destiny 2 was the same thing. I got bored of it. Fortnite, I don't give a fuck. Everyone knows my opinion on Fortnite. I played a little bit. I don't know. No Man's Sky, I've never played it. Really much, I can really say I even really spent any time playing it. I don't own it. So, Overwatch, I played the beta, hated it. Rainbow Six Siege is a success story that no one ever saw coming. You're right. I didn't think it was going to have any legs at all. I mean, I played it. It wasn't horrible. I played the beta and a couple free weekends. But yeah, I mean, Rainbow Six Siege, in my opinion, should win, but I am fucking scared that Fortnite's gonna win. That's how I feel. I don't believe Fortnite deserves it. Like you said, it's mostly just cosmetic. They just constantly pump out shit for people to spend money on. To me, that's not real content. Right. So they're just. I mean, they definitely Epic Games themselves, they do a great job of making sure their game works well. They fix shit constantly, so they do support the title. But as content wise, I think Rainbow Six Siege should win it.
Fair enough. All right, and Work. What about you?
I think I might be the only person in this group that's actually played all of these games. Not extensively, but I have at least had an hour or two with all of them. So I think my pick is going to be No Man's Sky. And I say that because I think we all either know or read what a steaming pile of donkey do it was when it came out, and the effort that Hello Games has put into it to bring it to where it is now. The content that they've released has one, been free, and two, been meaningful, like game building, change for the better, so to speak. It's been good, solid content. And realistically, I'm going to go with Overwatch over Rainbow Six. It's supported just as well as Rainbow Six. It's about a year newer, came out in 2016. And the reason that I say that is because I don't know if either of you have tried to play Rainbow Six Siege on like a free weekend, but it's a lot easier to get into Overwatch as a new player than it is to get into Rainbow Six Siege, in my opinion. And I think that's going to give it a little bit more legs with a more casual crowd, if that makes sense. I think it appeals to a wider audience.
Sure.
So,
okay. Yeah. All right. So some differing of opinions here. And Fatty, close us out on this nominees. What do you think?
I too have played all of these.
Cool.
Some more extensively than others. I think the game that should win this isn't even on this list.
Wow.
And it's an old game, but the charts will fucking say that it should be best ongoing game. GTA 5.
I knew it.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
It has had consistent free updates since almost its first month. And it's been out since, 2013, I think?
Sounds about right.
They should have
it was a tail end of the PS3 title, so yeah.
They should have write-in votes.
Yeah, it's still topping charts in the UK, so
yeah.
I think that's missing from here. But from what there is here, my personal pick, I would have to say that Rainbow Six Siege should win, just because I think it's the superior game out of all of them, and it has blown up. I mean, they have esports events non-stop for this game, constant updates. So Rainbow Six Siege would be my guess. I'm going to say, I want to say it's going to be Overwatch, but I fear that we're underestimating how many 12-year-olds are out there, and Fortnite's going to win.
Yeah.
See, you're the same fear I do.
Yeah. Well, not only that, it's you cannot ignore the popularity that it's gotten this last year.
I can.
It has blown up. You can, but it's ignorant. You cannot like a game. That's fine.
I know.
You can't just be like, no, I can't. No, it's not fair. Because it's very much there, and it's coming with a fucking force. So I think it's probably gonna take it.
Yeah.
All right. Fair enough. All right. Well, let's move on to the third one. I like the pace that we're at now. We got a good pace going. So I couldn't think of another word for it. It's just pace and pace when you rhyme the same word over and over again. All right, so moving on to our third category here, best game direction. This is gonna be I don't know. This is a real tough one as well. So the nominees for best game direction are A Way Out, Detroit: Become Human, God of War, Spider-Man, and Red Dead Redemption 2. I don't want to take this one first. I don't know who hasn't had it. Okay, go ahead, work.
I'll go first. All right, so right out of the gate, I can tell you that I've only played RDR2 and God of War out of this list, so I can't speak to the direction of any of these other games. But so going based on like the knowledge that I have, I think, in my opinion, that God of War should take this one. And I mean, if you're a fan of the series and you played the series and you saw what they did and the direction that they took the new game in, it speaks for itself. Like I can't describe it any better than the actual experience does. But Rockstar is the big swinging dick here. Red Dead's probably going to take it. So that's
okay.
Where I'm at.
Cool. And Fatty, why don't you go next?
I've only played Red Dead, but I have watched playthroughs of pretty much every one of these games because I was interested in them. I would have to say for game direction, it's going to be A Way Out, and the reason behind it is it's such a different kind of game, a game that we haven't had in a very long time, where it is co-op based, but it's also you're living out these two lives together on the same screen, right? You're seeing it happen at the same time. It's a very unique way to take a game, almost like movie-esque. So I would say my personal choice, A Way Out. It's probably gonna be fucking Red Dead. It should be. It's gonna be. Either that or Detroit, because that was pretty unique too. I think that was a good direction it took it.
Well, so I wonder, just like as an offshoot for a second here, I didn't read the description of this awards category, but when they say direction of a game, are they talking about, like, look at the direction that they took 3D platforming in this particular game, or are they saying look at the direction they took
They're looking at
story
outstanding creative vision and innovation in game direction and design.
Interesting. Yeah, that would. If I had played the other games or watched videos on them, that might change my answer. But I'll stick to my guns.
I'll go next here. I think that, and all respect to it, but I don't think Spider-Man should be on this list. I think, as Fatty said, A Way Out was an extremely, maybe not an extremely new way, but a very fresh way for a game to be designed. I haven't played it yet, but I also have watched some videos, and it looks fascinating. I think, Panther, you and I had planned at some point to play this together.
Oh, very soon, yes.
Yes. Now, having played all of the other games, like I said, Spider-Man I don't think should be included on this list. It was a great game, but game direction, I mean, we've seen games like Spider-Man before.
Yeah, it was nothing real new.
No, I don't think this should be award worthy for game direction. I really would love to see Detroit win this, because the type of narrative that was on display in this game was wonderful. The multiple character views and choices that you got to make, and you could see at the end of each little section, how the choices branch off, and how just one thing, could go off into certain other things. And it's such a unique way, and it has been done before. There's plenty of games that are a choose your story type of thing, but to do it with so many different characters that are all each as interesting and unique and emotionally investive, it was just, for me, an extreme achievement for Detroit. And above that, it looked and played beautifully. I would love to see that. That's my pick. I would love to see Detroit win this. I think best game direction, realistically, is going to be up between God of War and Red Dead Redemption 2. And I'm going to lean, just for, as we keep saying, recent is probably a big boost. So I think Red Dead is probably going to take this, though I think Detroit deserves it more. Panther, what about you?
Detroit Become Human. In my mind, yeah. I mean, A Way Out, I've watched very, very, very little because I didn't want it spoiled. The fact that I know I eventually was going to play it. When they announced how the game was going to work, A Way Out, I was like, that is fucking neat. I definitely want to play it. I've played Detroit Become Human. I've played God of War, and Red Dead, and I believe the same as you, Baker, Spider-Man doesn't belong on this list. God of War definitely has a chance to win this over Red Dead.
Yep.
I mean, I don't know if Red Dead even should be in this category, really.
I do.
Like,
I absolutely believe it deserves to be there, for sure.
Yeah. But
despite it being an open world, game direction and technical achievement, it's
not
really...
technical though, because if we're talking technical achievement, then God of War, for having no camera, having a single camera shot for the whole fucking game, that is a massive technical achievement. But it's innovation in game direction and game design. So to me, it's Detroit Become Human should win, and I think Detroit Become Human will win.
You think it will win?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I gotta play this game.
You do.
Is it only console?
Yeah.
Yeah, PS4
it's
exclusive.
On PS4.
Exclusive.
Yeah, you should play it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's worth the time. All right, so let's move on. Best narrative nominees. this I think is gonna be another real difficult one, and oh, Panther, why don't you go first on this? The nominees are Detroit Become Human, God of War, Life is Strange 2, Episode 1. I didn't write that in the notes, but for some reason it's only Episode 1. Spider-Man, and Red Dead Redemption 2. Panther, what's your picks?
So, for outstanding storytelling and a narrative development in a game, it's hard not to say Detroit Become Human again. I mean, the storytelling in that game was awesome. And how the fact that the choices were truly impactful. Like, there's games out there that give you the perception of choice. Some of the Telltale games give you that perception of choice.
BioWare.
But down the line, your choices basically they come around and the story gets told no matter what. But I know for sure in Detroit, because I went back and played some chapters and made some big glaring different choices, it actually really realistically changes the whole fucking game. Like, it's crazy. The amount of work that must have went into developing that is crazy. So Detroit Become Human to me, in my mind, should win, but I think God of War might take this one.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And then I'll throw it to Fatty next.
I might be the only one that chooses this, but Life is Strange.
I don't know enough about the game. I know people love it. It's getting lots of reviews, and I have not played the first one, so I can't give an opinion on it. But
I've played the first one. I played the little prequel demo they released.
Captain Spirit.
Life is Strange 2, yeah. Don't Nod Entertainment, they are the storytelling masters. I don't think I've ever been affected by a game so personally than I have when I played Life is Strange 1. And from what I'm seeing from Life is Strange 2, I've been watching videos and following along the story. It's the same kind of roller coaster ride. They have this beautiful way of just creating this narrative and making you actually give a damn about these characters. So that would be my choice. As to who will win, I mean, I'd like to see them win, but it's probably going to be either Detroit or God of War.
Okay. And then for me, I'm gonna definitely have to pick Detroit Become Human, and I'm gonna guess on this one that Red Dead Redemption 2 is gonna win.
Wow.
I think it's gonna take it. And then work round us out here.
Well, I've only played God of War and Red Dead, and I haven't finished the Red Dead story, so I can't really say, I can't really judge the entire narrative. But in my mind, between those two, what I know, I'm going to go God of War for the reason that I mentioned in the first one. I mean, the story that's told for both Kratos and his son, and how that story flows and changes throughout the game, and kind of the realizations that they have to come to. I mean, there's a lot going on emotionally in for those two characters. It's a beautiful story. I think it's awesome. So that would be my pick. And so strongly though that I think it's going to win that one. I mean, it's an excellent story that's told in that game.
Okay, cool. So let's move it on now. We've got 3 categories left. First up is Best Art Direction. And the nominees for this is Assassin's Creed Odyssey, God of War, Octopath Traveler, Red Dead Redemption 2, and Return of the Obra Dinn. I'll go first here. I think Best Art Direction should go to God of War. That's going to be my pick. I think it's probably, and this might be the only one that it has a chance at, it might go to Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I haven't played it yet. Again, I've seen videos, seen a lot, and I don't know. I think it's enough to set it apart. It's bigger than the world of God of War. It's I don't know. Red Dead Redemption is beautiful and as awesome as it is. The art direction in there, it has been done before, and not to say that Assassin's Creed Odyssey hasn't been done before in that type of setting, but I don't know. I think the scope of Assassin's Creed Odyssey in that particular setting, the art to me is, I think, more impressive. than just the plains and the trees and everything. Again, not to take away anything from Red Dead, because it's completely gorgeous and stunning, but I don't know, something about Odyssey, I think, as an art direction, I think that's probably gonna take it. And Fatty, what do you think?
I'm gonna go with Red Dead Redemption, because I mean, we're talking about creative and technical achievements in artistic design, and just the amount of detail in this game. I mean, even just walking through a grassy plain, it's beautiful. It's breathtaking. You see the fine details. So I think I would choose them. As for who's going to win, I'm going to be weird here, and I think everyone's going to be surprised. I think Octopath Traveler is going to win.
I have no idea what that even is.
It's a Nintendo game. When it came out, it was renowned for its design. It blew the fuck up. So I think you're gonna get enough Nintendo nerds out there that vote for this and send it right to the top.
Wow.
I've looked at the design itself. It's a really weird artistic design. I mean, it looks like 8-bit stuff, but it also is 3D while being 2D. It's different. But I think there'll be enough of them out there that they'll vote that to the top.
Okay. And Work, what about you?
Starting to sound like a broken record here. Only played 2 of these games. I think God of War probably going to be my pick, but I'm with you on Assassin's Creed. I think it's probably going to be the one. I mean, I think Red Dead is a beautiful game and all, but it doesn't really, like, I feel like the original Red Dead Redemption on the PS4 would be just as nice. Well, that's what I mean.
If it was on PS, okay, I got you.
Like, I don't feel like we've made that much of a leap. Like, the technology is a little bit better, but like, it's the Wild West.
Yeah.
Hills and trees and water and stuff. But God of War was, I mean, gorgeous. Like, the water was gorgeous, the mountains were gorgeous, the forest was gorgeous. Like, next level gorgeous, as opposed to Red Dead Redemption. Much smaller game. Like, I get the difference in scope, but if we're talking art, God of War.
Okay. And Panther?
God of War, in my mind, should win. And I think God of War will win.
Okay.
Kratos shows no mercy.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, I've seen some Assassin's Creed Odyssey video, and the game looks amazing. People are raving about it. I've seen a little bit of Octopath Traveler, but I still don't really have an opinion on it. I don't know what that Return of the Obra Dinn is. Red Dead is an amazing fucking game. It's fucking amazing looking. But God of War, I mean, when you look back at that game, the monsters, I don't know. I think God of War is going to win. I think it should win.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
I remember, like, when you first get to Kratos' cabin and that scene where you fight the dude and, like, he cracks open the mountain and stuff, just like looking at the side of a mountain in a video game and going, holy shit, that looks amazing. Like, when was the last time a rock impressed me in a game, I mean, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Moving on to our second to last category here. Best audio design nominees. They are Call of Duty Black Ops 4, Forza Horizon 4, God of War, Spider-Man, and Red Dead Redemption 2. For this one, I'll start first. And I really, really wish that Battlefield would have been on here, because I would have handed it to it, hands down. I think that aside from, I mean, Call of Duty, I don't think should ever win a design for audio, or I mean, a best audio design award. A lot of Call of Duty games to me sound like shit. It's just Michael Bay explosions, and all of the guns don't sound realistic. I don't know. I've really never been impressed with the audio in Call of Duty. As far as Forza, I've got no clue. I'm not super into racing games, and I've got no experience with the Forza series, so I can't really speak to the audio design there. But I know a lot of racing games do have really, really good audio design. But having put time into the other 3 games, I think best audio design for me is probably going to go to God of War. that's going to be my pick. And I think it's got also a pretty good chance of taking this award home. So hopefully. And let's go the opposite order from last time. So Panther, you go next.
That's a tough one.
Yep.
Recognizing best in game audio and sound design. I've played some Forza. I don't have a lot of time in Forza. The game does look good. I mean, it could be in the visual category. It could be a winner there. The sound, it does sound good. I mean, I didn't drive all the cars. I didn't drive like through all the environments, so I can't give it. But Spider-Man, it sounded good, but another one that I'm kind of like, well, does it deserve to be on the list? I don't know. I don't know what to say. I agree with you, Call of Duty. I don't know if I'd ever deem them as one of the best sounding games. I could be wrong. God of War is my pick. And I think God of War will win.
Okay.
Yeah.
After some deliberation, we agree.
Yeah. Well, last time I did. Last time I just was basically I answered without giving much opinion. So, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, like I agree with you. Battlefield 5, it was in there. That could be a definitely a contender for sure. For sure.
Yep.
So.
Yeah. All right. And Work, what about you?
I'm with you on Battlefield 5. I mean, we were talking about how amazing that game sounds and how all of them really sound. That's kind of something that they hang their hat on. Off of this list, I'm going to go, man, this is a tough one between God of War and Red Dead for me, because they both sound amazing. I know Red Dead didn't make like big strides in visuals, in my opinion, but all of the little nuances of riding a horse in nature and all the things that you hear are really good. But I guess I'd probably have to give God of War the edge personally. And yeah, I think it's probably the best sounding game on this list too. I think it'll take it.
Wow. 3 for 3. Fatty, are you going to...
It's good, man.
Is Fatty going to break the cycle?
Yeah, probably. I'm sorry, guys. I do agree. Battlefield 5, if it was on here, I would pick it. And I only played the beta, but it was definitely superior to all these games. I mean, you can hear bullets whiz by you and tank off something behind you. Just, it's amazing. As for my pick, I really am into racing games, and sound is important.
It is.
Racing fan. You know, racing fans pick apart racing games by their sound. And if your game doesn't have good sound, much like GTA or Gran Turismo 5 didn't have good sound, we're going to fucking let you know. Forza Horizon 4 has amazing sound. I mean, you can hear the leaves on the road. You can hear every inch of that car's engine going through the gears, you know. Even when you're just letting it rev down, you could hear the turbo backfiring, all that shit. It's so good. I mean, you can swap the same engine that I have in my car into another car in this game, and it sounds like my car, which blows my mind. So my pick's Forza Horizon 4. I think it'll be a toss-up between either Horizon 4 or God of War.
Okay. So almost unanimous on audio.
Almost. I'm leaning more towards Horizon 4 is winning.
Yeah.
But
like I said, my opinion swayed just because of playtime, but I know Forza Horizon 4, like from the bit that I have played, does sound amazing. But like I said, I can only kind of, you know, give points on what I've had lots of experience with.
Except the music. The music is shit. Just turn it off. Do yourself a favor.
Fair enough. All right, so we're going to move on to the last category here. We've got Best Performance. So the nominees for this is based on, well, let me rephrase here. Best Performance. The description here under this category is awarded to an individual for voiceover acting, motion, and or performance capture. So these are the people that make the games and the characters in the games what they are. This is an extremely personal award, as these actors, really invest, hundreds of hours of voiceover and motion capture sometimes, and it's just an incredible amount of work to make these characters come alive. And I really wanted this included. I'm glad you guys agreed as well, because I was tossing up on whether I think we would have time for it, but I think this is hugely important to recognize the incredible performances by these people. So without further ado, the nominees for best performance are Brian Deckard as Connor in Detroit Become Human, Christopher Judge as Kratos in God of War, Melisandre Mahut, I think I'm saying that right, as Cassandra in Assassin's Creed Odyssey, Roger Clark as Arthur in Red Dead Redemption 2, and finally Yuri Lowenthal as Peter Parker in Spider-Man. Let's hear from Fatty first this time.
I think this is the first category where I don't think Red Dead should be in here.
Okay. I tend to agree with you, actually.
I hate Arthur as a character. I just think he has no personality, and I think a lot of that attributes to the voice that was given to him. I mean, Roger Clark is probably a supremely talented guy, but it just didn't do it for me. If I were to pick one, I think it would either be Brian as Connor in Detroit or Christopher Judge as Kratos in God of War. From what I've seen from both games, just the way they play those characters, it feels so genuine. And so I would go with one of those as my personal. I think God of War will take it. I mean, there was a lot of emotion in that game that, from what I've seen, and I think that'll take it from the rest of them.
Okay. And let's go to work next.
God of War. End of discussion. I mean, when I hear the word boy, all I think about, and not in like a comical term, but just the
right.
You think of the many different ways and emotions that he said and put into that one fucking word, on top of everything else in that game. I mean, it's part of what made Kratos' character in this particular iteration of that game just over the top, man. Over the top. Anybody could have played a outlaw cowboy. I mean, you put whatever voice on Arthur, and it's Arthur with whatever voice on it. But I can't think of anyone else that would have done Kratos, man. Fuck. It was good.
And who do you think's gonna win? God of War?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Panther, let's go to you, and then I'll finish this off.
This is a tough one for me. With Fatty's opinion on Arthur, he's not an exciting character. I'll give you that. But I think the character from without finishing the story and getting any more depth into maybe a possible background on Arthur, maybe we learn more about him down the road of the game. But some of the lines delivered by him are really well done. And I mean, yeah, it's a gruff old cowboy that kind of is indifferent to everything else. Yuri Lowenthal as Peter Parker, he done a good job. It definitely gave you that's what you expect Spider-Man to sound like, to act like. He done a good job. I can't say anything about the Assassin's Creed game. I have no experience with the new Assassin's Creed at all. It comes down to Detroit, and it comes down to God of War for it has for most of the categories for me. Christopher Judge as Kratos, amazing. That voice and the way he delivers his lines and the power just behind his voice alone is impressive. And he I don't know if he could voice actor another character that's not a great big muscle bound person that Kratos is. But Brian Deckard is as Connor, man, to play a character that has no emotion. That is something that is talented to do. I mean, it's not like he was playing an idiot. He was playing and Android. He's done such a great job. I want them both to win. Is it possible they could both win?
Oh, I see what you mean. It's just as difficult to show no emotion as it.
Yeah, the levels that he showed with
off,
Kratos. I mean, that the God of War, it was like up until Red Dead was pretty mean. It was pretty much a category winner everywhere. But like, I mean, you would sit back and I think of it, and I played, Detroit Become Human. I love Detroit Become Human. So I think Christopher Judge will win it. I think I'm going to go the other way. Normally I say who I want to win. I think Christopher Judge will win it, but I want Brian Deckard to win it. Yeah.
Sweet.
All right.
Yeah.
And for me, I wholeheartedly agree with Panther. On both accounts, I think that Christopher Judge is going to win it just because I don't know that the mass market appeal is going to be there for Brian Deckard as Connor. Just because I don't know that a lot of people will see the value or the talent that it would take to act like that and to perform as a robot that's emotionless. But it's an incredible thing that he was able to do, and all of the actors in that game, really, they all were fantastic. He was just the main headliner. It's very tough for this one, and I'm just as torn in picking these two, but I think it will come down to Christopher Judge winning, and I think that they both deserve it. I'd love to see both of them get it, but I think I would probably say, as close as it could possibly be, Brian Deckard for me personally. So that's going to do it for all those categories. Now, do we have anything missing? Any categories missing? As we've already stated several times, Battlefield should be on this list as far as missing games. Is there a category not listed in the awards that should be there? Any honorable mentions, anything like that from you guys? Anybody go ahead and chime in.
I don't really know if I have anything. I mean, the Game Awards cover so much. I mean, maybe I can mention what shouldn't be given Game Awards for. Fucking anything esports related. And content creators, because all they are Twitch streamers. I mean, we pre-podcast chat, and it was like, I think we all kind of agreed on those. I don't know if we all agreed, but, I think they can take the esports fucking titles the fuck out of here. They get enough of their own. They have their own big events. They have their own championship leagues, and I don't care about esports at all. I've never watched an esports event, and I probably never will watch an esports event. So they could take all the esports categories, and they could have an esports fucking award show for all I give a fuck. I mean, I'm not gonna mince words, man. I think it's a fucking complete and utter waste of anyone's fucking time to have these in the video game awards.
Yeah,
because
I love your ability to like delicately bounce around things,
topics. How I try to appeal to the masses on my opinions. Yeah, because I love to do that. You know me, turn all the filters.
You're such a non-denominational, non-offensive.
But I mean, like, the categories are just ridiculous. I mean, if the website if the website would work, I could scroll through and give you like best esports host. Like, really?
Yeah, some of those are a little stupid.
Best esports team, best esports logo, best esports sports drink,
like best esports moment or some shit. I'm like,
and content creator of the year. I mean, aren't they all just Twitch streamers? Like, we want to get down to content creation. To me, the Twitch streaming isn't technically content creating, in my opinion, but my opinion might not matter to anybody else. That's right. So
I'd like to see a best developer category, maybe something where you're putting up somebody like a Bungie versus a Rockstar versus a Epic Games.
Well, would that not just come down to like a game of the year or best, whatever category that game falls in? Well, I mean, it would end up it would pit the games against each other.
Not necessarily. It could be like support and stuff like that. Like which studios show the more support towards the games that have already been out, or different.
Now we're talking.
Yeah.
Yes.
But then, I mean, does that fall on just developers? Is that developers and publishers?
I don't think that's more on the publishers, is it?
Yeah, I guess it would be more developers.
I don't know. It depends on who holds the strings, you know.
Yeah. That's an interesting. Something that I'd like to see looked at. Yeah.
I think one thing I'm a little surprised that nobody has mentioned yet, but a category that's missing to me is the biggest comeback. Is that there should be a game that fought back, or a developer that came back from, either a terrible state or whatever. And I think for me in 2018, that biggest comeback story would be probably No Man's Sky.
Yeah, I was supposed to say, come on, man.
But how many more of those are out there? I mean,
right.
Comeback, the only one I can think of this year is No Man's Sky.
Yeah.
No, you're missing a big one.
Who?
Gun. They finally put those dedicated servers in F13, baby. Big comeback. But that's probably the only other one I can think of where everyone like pooped on something and asked for something, and then they finally did it, and everybody was like, "Yay, finally!" That's really the only other one I can think of. But yeah, No Man's Sky is like, oh my gosh.
For sure. And then
That's
what
crazy.
about biggest letdown? What was the biggest letdown of 2018 for you guys in the gaming world?
Oh.
Gosh, it's too bad Battlefield 1 came out last year.
Shit.
Wow. See, you never get Battlefield 1 a chance. I think that was your problem. You were still.
Yeah, it really
I
wasn't
did.
all that bad.
I maxed all of my classes.
You stop it.
You liar.
No, I did. Or maybe I got them all in rank 10. I don't know. I played enough to get all of them to like rank 5 or 10 or whatever.
Biggest letdown.
Zeus's Battleground.
No. What was it? No More Room in Hell.
No More Room in Hell.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that wasn't a this year title though. That's the only problem. Yeah, Zeus or Elysium, the mobile game.
Yeah,
Rings of Elysium. Yeah, ROE. But yeah,
Zeus has so much potential too.
Zeus's Battleground was a fucking steaming pile of shit.
I've got one that was the biggest letdown for me this year.
What's that?
Metal Gear Survive.
Okay. I heard that was just.
I wanted to cry when that came out.
I heard that was just complete and utter trash. Yeah.
It was such a train wreck, and how dare they use the Metal Gear name for that? It
was a money grab.
It is a total money grab, and they put no effort into it. It's shit. It's such shit. Fuck that game.
Wow.
And fuck you, Konami.
I never played it.
Good. Don't. Save yourself the trouble.
Wow.
I mean, the best performances. I mean, I know they list kind of like the main characters, but I think some supporting. I think they could do a supporting performance role on that as well. I think that's a category they should add, because I mean, Detroit Become Human had some amazing characters. And God of War, some of those characters, like I don't want to spoil anything, but the guy at the top of the mountain that you talked to about halfway through, that was an interesting guy. Like, I don't want to spoil anything because I don't know who hasn't played it and who might want to play it. I don't want to spoil anything, but Work knows who I'm talking about.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that character was awesome.
Oh
yeah. I mean, yeah.
And,
so
on that same note,
The Stranger.
Stranger was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm thinking. Oh man, what's his name? Lenny from Red Dead Redemption 2.
Yeah, Lenny's pretty good.
Because there's some stories that you go on, some missions that you go on with him that kind of flesh out his character and his background a little bit. And, it's good stuff. There's
like all the top AAA titled games definitely have some supportive cast that are great, but there's some. I think they need to have like the category for voice acting and motion capture for lead, and also for best supporting.
Yeah.
I think they should add that. They could drop those esport titles right quick and add that. I think that's one thing they need to add.
Protagonist, antagonists kind of thing.
You know what I think they do need, and I think they had it for the very first Video Game Awards back when it was Spike TV doing it, is best character. So I understand we have best performance like such and such as Kratos, but I would like to see the characters themselves put up against each other. Who had the best personality as a video game character?
Yeah.
And it doesn't even have to be main characters. It could be like some weird side character that you meet in a game. Maybe they had a big impact, or they were just funny as hell. I think that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
See, and see, Baker, you didn't play Borderlands, but anyone that played Borderlands 2, that guy that you met partway through the game, and all he wanted you to do was fucking shoot him. Shoot me in the face! Shoot me in the face! Stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one.
All right. So some fair things to think about. Game Awards, we know you're listening, so maybe next year.
Yeah, Jeff. Come on, Jeff.
If you need someone to be in the category of best video game awards host, you got 4 people right here that
right.
Well, yeah, what about
what about the best podcast?
Podcast, yeah, podcast to the gaming podcast. We're already the best goddamn podcast on the planet, so
I think collectively we need to start some beef with another podcast.
We should try. Let's start a flame war. Let's start a flame war with Kind of Funny. How about that? We'll start a flame war with Kind of Funny games, and we'll see how fast we're buried.
I can't believe you didn't go for Jack Frags, man.
Jack, he's not a podcaster though.
No, that's true.
She's a shithead.
he goes after him anyways, just on the daily.
That's right.
I don't want to end this on a sad note, but we didn't mention at the first of the podcast, and it's not really technically gaming related, but
shit.
Yeah, someone famous just recently.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, someone
And
famous that impacted.
There's a lot of credit to many forms of multimedia and entertainment. Yeah. We're talking, of course, about Stan Lee.
Yeah.
Stan the Man. Yeah. Extremely sad news. Passed away just this past week.
Yeah.
They haven't released the details to that, right? We're still.
I haven't read anything as an actual copy. The dude was 95 years old.
Yeah, sure.
I know he was a little under the weather a little while ago, and there wasn't a lot of details that I found released on why he was sick. But yeah, I know he was kind of ill there for a little while, so I'm not sure what the outcome of that was. But yeah, like that guy was 95 years old. I mean, old age is a valid cause of death, unfortunately, in this world. But yeah, I was never a huge comic book fan, but like superhero fan, like the Marvel world, I mean, has blown up in the last 10 years or so. That is just it's basically one of the largest entertainment things in the world right now outside of video games. So yeah, I mean, Stan Lee was a big influencer to so many people and brought joy to so many people. So yeah, rest in peace, man.
Yeah, without Stan Lee, I would not have had the joy of playing 2 of my favorite games of all time. And we'll see if anyone else has played these, but X-Men Legends 1 and 2 on the PS2.
Yep.
Those games were so cool, man. And without Stan Lee, many of those characters wouldn't exist.
Yeah.
The game would not have been possible, man. So definitely, for sure, a big loss. It's been a rough year, man. 2018's been fucking mean.
2018 has been a bitch.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Yeah. And thanks for mentioning that, because yeah, we didn't start off by saying anything about it, and yeah, it's worth mentioning. He lived a fantastic life. He impacted a lot of lives, did amazing things for the gaming culture, the nerd culture, created a lot of superheroes, inspired a lot of people, and just an amazing, there's the content creator right there. That's where the award should go.
Content creator of the year. Content creator of the fucking millennium, right
of
there.
Our lifetime.
Yeah, there you go.
I imagine they're probably going to honor him in some way at the show.
I hope they should. I hope they do. They should definitely should, and it's definitely deserved. I mean, I've never heard the bad press of Stan Lee like you hear bad press about everybody else, but yeah, I mean, I don't remember ever hearing in the last umpteen years that Stan Lee has been all over the face of everything because of the Marvel series. I've never heard anything bad about the man. I mean, he went to Comic-Con events, he went to like signings, he went everywhere. He's done AMAs on Reddit. He done, this dude was just seemed like he loved his fans and he loved what he did. So I mean, yeah.
Yeah, man, he struck me as a guy who was just as fascinated with the world that he helped to create as someone who was just absorbing the content versus, you know what I mean? Like he looked like a starstruck kid every time he watched Thor or whatever, which was so cool, man. And I hope they continue the trend of having him in each movie in some way, even if it's just like a picture on a mantle in a house in a scene or something. But like, I really hope they keep that alive for him.
I'm sure that they will.
Well, they had his picture in one of the, I think it was the Jessica Jones on Netflix. They had his like a poster of him or something, or he was on like a side of a moving van or something. I can't remember what it was, but I remember his face was in one of those series. So yeah, I hope they do something to honor him in every one of the following Marvel movies that come out. They should. I mean, without him, there wouldn't be Marvel. So I don't think. Yeah.
That's right.
Not as we know it, for sure.
No.
Right.
All right, so that's gonna wrap up the Game Awards special discussion podcast. Thanks everyone for joining us. We will link the site here in the description of the video. It's really very simple to find, thegameawards.com. And again, you can vote once every 24 hours. It also says on the top of the page here, if you share your vote through some type of social media, it receives an extra boost in the winning formula. So it counts as more than one vote, I guess. There's more weight to it. Winners will be announced live on December 6th at the Game Awards, and on the website there's a link to find out where you can watch the show live on December 6th. So I'm sure at some point after that we'll have a breakdown of the winners and see how we did on all of our guesses and possibly dissect where we thought they went wrong with some of the choices and why. So we'll see about that at a later date. Not confirming anything at all yet. Just probably going to happen. So again, for the guys here at Beyond the Controller, thank you guys so much for joining us. If you have anything to add, leave a comment, throw something at us on Twitter, and if you're a competing podcast, find us in the streets.
Yeah, bitch. Ron Burgundy style. And I do have one more final thing to add.
Uh-oh.
It's very important. It's been a while.
Who's getting it?
Just want to say, hey, No Name Colorado, go fuck yourself. You think you're too good to have a fucking name for your town? Just No Name? Like, you just don't give a fuck, huh? Yeah, go fuck yourself.
What the fuck?
See, Patty doesn't know, but OG listeners of Battlefield will understand.
Classic. To bring you up to speed, Fatty, and anybody listening now, we had been podcasting with him a long time ago, and one thing he would do at the end of the show is he would pick a random location in the world and give a special fuck you shout out to that place.
I almost forgot, man. It's been a while.
Yeah.
I like how you were like, "Who's getting it?" Like you do right away.
I knew it.
I did too. I was like, uh-oh.
Oh man, you were thinking it's either a Mustaine scream or a go fuck yourself. My body is.
I was ready for either one.
Oh man. Nice.
All right. So that's going to do it. Thanks, guys, for listening, and we will catch you sometime next month for this special podcast, wrapping up the Game Awards. So everybody take care. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you guys later.